morning, everyone. My name is Morgan. I am the executive producer of the Women Can podcast. I am joined with Stevie Essler of Built by Stevie, hashtag Carpenter. Good morning, Stevie.
Hey, Morgan. Happy to be here.
Welcome. We've been talking now off camera for about 30 minutes.
Yep.
So
we had a pre-podcast conversation.
So we're going to jump in like we haven't talked before.
That's right.
So I was first introduced to Stevie through the Christy Wright Facebook Business Boutique Facebook page. I was on there. I said, I'm looking for podcast guests. Someone said, have you heard of Built by Stevie? She's a female carpenter. You got to follow her. You got to check her out. So I checked out your Instagram account, was blown away, reached out to you. Praise God you responded. And here we are.
Yes, here we are.
So got a couple of questions for you. That's what a podcast is all about.
I'll answer.
First of all, give our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where are you living now? What do you do?
Totally. So I'm a beach kid. So born and raised in South Florida, and literally grew up, sailing, swimming, tennis, water polo, all these major outdoor sports is what I did growing up. And then kind of hopped around after college and lived in lived in Texas, lived in Missouri, back to Florida. And then I moved to Nashville, Tennessee in February of 2011. So I'm almost at 10 years, which is a decade. And I cannot believe I've been in Nashville for a decade. And then I actually just recently bought I sold my first townhouse back in April and bought a couple acres outside of Nashville and built my dream workshop. So I'm a carpenter, a woodworker. There you go. So I design and build custom furniture and built-ins full time, and had been renting space for a couple years. And it was time to build my own space. And now I'm kind of more doing the country living. Definitely moved outside the city, but still close enough that I can get over literally in 20 minutes and it's easy. But I live in the country. I'm past my computer right now. I'm looking out and it's my beautiful land in the background.
Oh, the dream. So. That's the dream. Okay. So you've lived in Nashville for almost 10 years now. And before Carpenter, Built by Stevie took off, what were you doing?
Yeah, so my background is actually in youth and family ministry, and so that's what I did. I worked at, a couple churches. I did some off-site ministry. And then I also worked in sales for a little bit. I worked at Lululemon and did product and stuff for them. So I'm kind of, I've worked.
Do you have a lot of leggings?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, if you walk into my closet right now, the left side when you first walk in, floor to ceiling for the first 3.5 feet is just tops. And it's crazy.
Do those leggings last as long as they say?
Oh yeah. I literally last year got rid of my very first pair. Well, not even on got rid of them on purpose, only because I was running and I hit I ran into a branch that was kind of hanging. I just brushed against it, but it ripped a hole in my pants, leggings. And they were literally 8 years old. I was so bummed. But I actually took it back to the store and they replaced them. So I was like, all right, that's actually not bad.
Oh!
So, but I definitely, it's TMI, but whatever. I have a sports bra on right now that I've probably had for 7 or 8 years and it's still so comfortable. So
it still has elasticity.
Yes.
And everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay,
it's crazy.
There's a plug for Lululemon. Looking for sponsors, Lulu.
Oh man. Yeah, I still have a lot. I don't wear it as much, but whenever I do need to wear it, I've got it.
Cool. Okay. So you work for Lululemon, you were in sales, professional ministry. Okay. Mm-hmm. So then how did the next chapter start?
Yeah, so I bought my townhouse. It'll be 7 years, I guess, in December. And whenever I bought my townhouse, I wanted to fix it up and lay hardwoods and just do different projects. And I'd never used a saw before. And my uncle he gifted me a miter saw, which is like just a chop saw. And I'd never used it. And he's like, I'm going to show you how to use it. So he shows me how to use this saw, and I cut my hardwoods and lay my hardwoods. And then after a handful of months living in my townhouse, my master bedroom was downstairs, and I had 3 guest rooms upstairs, and I had mattresses in 2 rooms, but didn't have headboards. And so I was like, I bet I could build a headboard. Like, this is DIY. Like I just laid hardwoods. Like I can probably build a headboard.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on and I just Googled how to build a headboard, found a couple websites, figured out measurements, and then built a headboard. And then I was like, oh, that's fun. Let me build something else. So it's like I built another headboard, built a desk, the desk that I'm sitting at right now. Built my first dining room table the following November. And so I just kept on like adding DIY projects to my list that I was building for myself. And then I'd have a friend say, oh, can you build me a headboard? Or my brother and sister-in-law, hey, can you come to North Carolina and build us a headboard? So it's like I started building all this random stuff. And then I lost my job 5 years ago in May. And whenever I lost my job, I floundered around for a solid month of just, I struggle with depression, anxiety anyways. And then the job, like losing a job puts you into a whole other level.
Different
It's like,
headspace.
it's like you're going to be sad and probably depressed without having it from losing a job. And then like someone who is actually, I take meds for depression. So it's like, okay, now I'm really like, I'm past my normal. Yeah. So that was really, really rough. And, I have to give it to my best friend. She was like, well, you build stuff. So why don't you build stuff while you're looking for another job? So that's what I did. So I started building. It was on August 20th of 2015. I put on social media, hey, I now have a business account called Built by Stevie, and I'm going to be building stuff for friends and family. If you need anything, pass my name around. I would love to build something for you. And next thing I know, I've got people calling and asking me to build stuff, and it would take me forever, but I'm slowly learning. And
Can I interrupt you for a quick second?
Go for it.
Before your uncle gave you the miter saw?
Yep.
Did you have any experience in carpentry, construction, any kind of experience there?
None.
So no education.
No, like literally the most education I had in building stuff was assembling IKEA furniture, which I could do really well. So that was about it. Like I could literally put together an IKEA furniture. I did learn how to install ceiling fans in college because I wanted one. And one of my guy friends was like, hey, I'll show you how to do it so that you can do it in the future. And I love that he showed me how to install a ceiling fan, because I actually installed a bunch of ceiling fans for friends in college because they needed them. Mm-hmm. And so, I went and installed ceiling fans in college for a meal or, for some type of beer payment or something. And so that was it. It was like
Beer is the universal currency.
I mean, in college, yes. I'm like, oh, you're going to pay me in a 6-pack or let's be honest, a 12-pack for hanging a ceiling fan? Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
You're gonna go to Moe's and get me a burrito for hanging your fan? Ooh. Perfect. So
okay, so you started building, you started passing your name around to these circles. Mm-hmm. And did it kick off pretty quickly?
Kind of. I mean, I think friends were like, well, I need this project. And I think a lot of them were like, well, she can't be that expensive because she's like building in her garage. And I was cheap. I mean, I was really cheap. So yeah, they literally trusted me to build these random things that I was literally learning how to build while I'm building them. And so it'd take me forever. I mean, a project would take me a month to build, where now it's, I can knock it out in a couple of days. But a slow process because I was teaching myself. So it's like I would mess up. I have to figure it out. I have to figure out why I messed up and how I messed up, and then how I needed to, make it better. So literally self-taught. People still can't believe that I'm self-taught. Now, my uncle helped me on a couple, my uncle helped teach me a couple things that I had, it's like more construction side that I hadn't even thought of. And so It's like I learned, like my grandfather had taught him, he taught me. It's my mom's younger brother, so it's like literally staying in the family, learning how to do things. So, but self-taught, totally self-taught.
Okay, so so self-taught, but you did use some like resources to kind of teach yourself, right? So like,
Yeah,
did
I mean,
you
I would use
YouTube it?
YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd Google if I couldn't figure something out. I'd Google how to do. It's like, I mean, you can teach. YouTube can literally teach you how to do anything now, and so it's like so I'd YouTube it how to do it. Would watch a YouTube video, and then just I still do this. I'll watch something, and I'm like, okay, and I don't even watch the whole video. It's like I watch like the first initial steps to get me
To
there.
get you started.
Yeah, and then I'm
Yep.
like, okay, I'm gonna figure the rest of this out myself, and that's what I did then, and that's what I still do now. So
Okay. When you first started, did you experience any kind of pushback from people saying a woman, a woman making this stuff? I'm not sure about that.
not at the beginning. At the beginning it was just friends and family, and so they were all supporting me, and like DIY was such a I mean, it's still a big deal, but I feel like
Pinterest. Yeah.
yeah, Pinterest 7-8 years ago. That was a bit that DIY was everyone's going and trying to find like a piece of wood on the ground and
Oh,
painting
weathered
it.
wood. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So everyone was kind of like DIYing to some extent. So at the beginning, no, I don't think I did not get weird, like not, I will call it weird. I didn't get like weird hate from dudes until I became more known in the woodworking world. And then it was like, okay, I have a little bit more of a following. And so other people are talking about me. And like, I've got some guy friends who are big time, I've got big time social medias, and they're talking about me. So then some of their followers are now following me. And then their followers are now, now my followers, but they're hating on me because I'm a girl, or questioning, like, did I actually build that? Which, yeah. So it wasn't until, I would say almost really until about 2.5, 3 years ago that I started getting mansplained at the end of the day.
Hmm. And when you find that you've got someone reaching out to you trying to mansplain something, do you respond or do you ignore it?
It depends. It depends how sassy I'm feeling, because I can be sassy. So if it's like it honestly just depends on the day, because there have been some times, and I read them. I read messages. I read DMs. I read a comment, and I'm like, delete. I don't even I don't respond. And then there are other times when I'm like, no, you don't get to talk to me this way, and I'm not standing up. I'm not standing up for this, and so I kind of shove it back.
Put it in your face.
Yeah, so it literally just depends. It depends on what day you hit me and how I'm feeling. And if I'm feeling sassy, like, oh, you're going to get the wrath of Stevie. Like, it's going to come out, and it's not the best light for me, but it's, it's like, it's like I'm here and I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then you push the wrong button on the wrong day, and now I'm, well over my head, and I'm done. Like, I just won't take it.
Hashtag sassy carpenter.
Oh gosh, yes, that actually should be one of mine. Like, can be.
So you said you have a lot of buddies that are in the industry. Have you come across any other female carpenters, or is it pretty much just men?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more women are coming to the surface, which is really awesome. And so, not that many custom builders like myself. They are out there. Like, they definitely are out there. There's more content creators. What I have found, like, there's more women who are building for like just straight content, or they're just building every now and then. They build for a friend, or they're just mainly building stuff for their houses. But it's a lot of content, like a ton of content. Where
So not for a business. Okay.
Yeah. Where like I am strictly client work. Like, I do content for social media, but I'm only filming because I'm already building it for a client. So like I'm self-employed and I have employees. Like, my employees are building furniture for my clients. I am building furniture for my clients. So not that many are doing full-time like I am.
Okay.
So like, it's like woodworking. Built by Stevie pays all of my bills and pays my staff salary, and I'm not married. And so like, this literally has to be I have to make enough money to pay for
you got to make it work. It's on
I
you.
make it work. Yeah. It literally, the buck stops here. It's like that, it's like that statement that says, I'm like, no, literally like the buck of Built by Stevie stops right back to me, Stevie Essler. Like I am responsible for all of this.
That's an interesting segue into responsibility as a woman. I mean, how do you feel like being the founder and the owner and then also the employer? How do you balance that responsibility?
Man, I'm still learning. Like I definitely am still learning. It's, it's hiring. I didn't have guys on staff for 3.5 years. I hired a guy around Christmas time, and he is awesome. He helps with installs, and he has a construction background. And so like the shop that I just built, he has helped me do a lot of that kind of stuff. And so it's taking things off my plate. It's, I don't need to be, he's installing a ventilation system in my paint room. While he's doing that, I'm building an entertainment center for a client. So it's not, I'm not taking, it's like my checklist of 100 things to do every day. I don't have to do all 100 things on my list anymore. And so it really is hiring. It's hiring the right person. So, it's like I got a new girl that just started a couple weeks ago, and she's doing a lot of my minor stuff that is prep work for me for building. And so it's taking, it's like, I don't have to sand for 4 hours. She can sand for 4 hours. And when she gets done sanding, I'm building what she just sanded. So it's taking, like the different steps steps are taken out of my,
your to-do list.
My to-do list.
Yeah.
So, and it's sometimes it's a lot. Like sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh crap. Like I've got 30 emails to respond to, but also I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking out at my shop and I'm like, but I should be in my shop building. But I'm like, well, if I don't respond to these emails, then I'm not going to have clients to actually build for. So, it's like having staff that are working while I'm actually inside doing admin work. And I mean, I hope that I actually have an admin assistant here sooner than later, just because it's a lot. And I do know that like I need to take stuff off my plate, but also I can work hard for a couple hours and sit at my computer and just knock admin out, and then I'm done. And then I can go play, essentially work in my shop. So it's a fine balance of learning what I need to get rid of in my daily life, and then what actually I need to keep just for business.
Yeah. So apart from the admin that you work on, I mean, do you do the administration side like every day pretty consistently?
Not every day. Like sometimes I'll go like 2 or 3 days without even checking email because, it's like I look and see what's on there, and I'm like, if it's something really important, or it's like, sometimes like a client, like I might not get back to them for 48 hours, but I'm in my shop. And so, and that's why, I don't keep an out of office message on my email, but I'll respond back to them and say, hey, I apologize for the delay. I've been in the shop building for another client.
Yeah.
And then I try, it's like, but once I send an email, I really do try, like usually it's like within 24 hours, I'm responding back to something. But there are some days when the work week just gets ahead of me, and I pulled, a 10-hour day in the shop. And so the last thing I want to do is go sit at my computer and do admin. What I have found out about myself is if I do admin in the morning before I walk out to the shop, it's much better. So definitely getting it done early.
It sounds like Built by Stevie really is just like growing and thriving, and that you are balancing the multiple responsibilities of an owner.
It's something that I did not think I would ever be doing.
Pretty cool. I mean, does that fill you? Like, do you ever take a moment and you're like, wow, I'm doing this. Like, this is, I built this. Built by Stevie was built by Stevie.
Yeah. It's crazy, Morgan, because I will say almost 9 times out of 10 that I walked into my old shop that I was renting, like I was renting the space. I would drive up, I would see my big sign, like up on, outside this building that you can see from the interstate. And so I would see my like logo, I'd see my sign. I'm like, crap, this is me. Like I did this, like, this is my business. Now, I will say, now that I've actually like built a shop and I saw the entire process, from start to finish happen before my eyes, and watching that. And so now, it's like I sit here and I see my shop and I'm like, dang, she's pretty. Or it's like, I'll walk out there and I'm like, this is mine. This is mine. So it's a whole other level of pride. And it's not just like, it's not prideful. It's just like, I'm even amazed by myself. And so like people, I'm amazed by you. I'm like, no, I'm amazed by myself. Like, this isn't like,
Me too.
Me too. Like, I really am like, holy crap. In other words, I did this. Like, I actually did this. So.
That is awesome. That is so cool. I hope like whoever listens to this is like so inspired by you, because I think that's like, everybody wants to get to that spot. Like they are inspired by themselves and like what they're able to accomplish, because no one's going to doubt yourself. No one's going to doubt you more than you, you know? So I mean, we are our own worst enemies, but we can also be our best champions.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. Congratulations on your new shop.
Thanks.
So what does like an average day? So you do the administrative side because you're the boss. So you've got kind of your hand in every single pot, right? What does an average day look like for you as a boss babe?
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely, it's like admin in the morning, breakfast, out to the shop. And then whenever I'm in the shop, the shop is almost completely done on the inside. I'm so close. Like, we still have to put a bathroom in, but I can walk 200 feet to my house and, go to the bathroom if I need to. So, the bathroom is like kind of the last bit to do really in the shop. But like we finally just organized all my tools. So everything is off my work tables now. And now it's just the work tables and workbenches are just for actually building. So whenever I get out to the shop, right now I'm building an entertainment center. And so it is, I cut all of the wood and it's all ready everything is ready to be assembled. So literally all I have to do is put the entire, glue it up and clamp it up, put it together, let it dry overnight, and then sand it down, stain it, deliver it, a couple days later. So it's definitely the thing about woodworking, and like, it really is a start to finish job. And so there's not much that you can do to skip a step. Like, you actually have to start at the beginning and work your way all the way to the end. So it's very rarely do you get
jump around.
Yeah, you can't jump around. And if you do, for me, if I jump around too much on a project, not that I'm messing up that project, but I'm skipping some step. It's like, because it's like, I think even in life, it's like you skip too many steps and you skip some pivotal point. And it's like, okay, did I skip that, or did I just jump around? So it's like,
is there a gap in my knowledge now?
Yeah. Yep. So it is. It's a start. It literally every day is a start to finish. Or it's like start and then as far as you can get, and then the next day every day in the shop is like I pick up where I left off. So the next day it's like I pick up where I left off. The next day I pick up where I left off the night before.
Is that
definitely a process?
Is that regularity comforting, or does it become monotonous?
I think it's actually comforting. I like it. I was actually telling the guys yesterday, I'm not bored in this job. I have been bored in almost every other job I have had at some point. Where I'm just like, okay, am I actually being used to my best ability? Is there a ceiling that I just hit and it's not even like an open aired glass ceiling? Like, I just hit the ceiling and I'm bored, and I'm so bored. And then I'm done. Where Built by Stevie, I'm not bored. Like, it takes, I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know the last time I was actually bored doing this. Like, I think the only time I would be bored is if I'm having to like drive in the car, go deliver something. Then I'm like, oh, I got to drive. But no,
you can push that off. Push that delivery off on somebody else.
Although no, I love seeing clients' faces whenever I deliver stuff. And so that might be, maybe one day we get a little bit bigger and I can't go do every single delivery. But right now I'm like, it's so fun to walk into a house and then, see something. So we just did.
What are some of the projects? So I know you do built-ins, and not everyone is going to know what a built-in, so can you explain what a built-in installation is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I look at a built-in essentially is extra storage in your house. So, usually outside of a wall. So it's not a closet. I mean, you can build a closet, but it's very much like, it's like you have your wall and you're building something on top of that wall, outside from that wall. So a lot of times built-ins are on either side of a fireplace. It's cabinets with shelves. And then a lot of times you'll have an entire wall that's 11 feet wide and it's in an office. And so you're going to build, a built-in desk with, maybe a desk in the middle, and you've got some doors with drawers on the sides. And then you've got, shelves up top that books and decor are on. So yeah, literally it's an extra build out.
Okay.
That then gets attached to your wall.
I'm just writing that down. I'm going to Google some pictures later.
Yeah, totally.
And then you also do custom furniture. And what kind of furniture do you do?
I mean, pretty much if it's made out of wood, I'll build it. So, I mean, a lot of stuff that I build is, clients see something at Restoration Hardware, West Elm, Pottery Barn, Pinterest, whatever. They see something, they like it, but they don't like the color, or they need it to be 6 inches wider in one section than what Restoration Hardware sells it at. And so that's where I come in and I build custom. So everything I do is a one-off, like nothing is the same. I mean, every now and then, someone has a very similar table, but it's not the same size. Hardly ever are they the exact same size. Usually everything I build is specific for that one client's needs.
Mm-hmm. How many projects are you working on, or is your team working on a day?
So right now we've got 2 projects going on in the shop. So at any given time, I'd say between 1 to 3. It just depends on what we're building.
Mm-hmm.
We're still getting set up in my shop, so we're not as efficient as what even we were 5-6 months ago, whenever I was in my retail shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we'll get there I bet in the next 2 weeks, we'll be almost back to complete normal for production. But yeah, I'd say every person is working on almost a different project in the shop. So I would say at least 2 projects going on at any given time.
Do you feel like at this point in your business, I mean, you've gained a lot of notoriety and you have a ton of followers on Instagram. I just checked and it's 22,000 followers, 22.7 thousand followers. That's incredible. Do you think that your notoriety and you being a woman now aids your business?
I think so, definitely. I mean, the numbers help with algorithms anyway. So it's because my Instagram is growing, it makes my website bigger,
Yeah.
I don't know
how all that branding,
stuff, exposure. Yeah. So that works. And then being a female is probably one of the biggest assets I have, for this right now. Just local business number 1, female probably business number 2. And then sometimes for some people it's female number 1, local number 2. And so it just depends on literally what the client sees. But I would say being a female is definitely, it's the top reason, if not the second reason that someone goes with me. A lot of, it's women really do support other women. And I think it's one of those things guys don't really, I just don't think that guys think about that stuff.
Yeah.
To me, guys have a need and they just go get that need met. And so it's if a guy, a girl, whoever can do it, they're going to get that. They're going to go to a car place and find the car they want.
Yeah.
Where women shop around, women actually shop around.
Yeah. We read the reviews.
Yes. Read the reviews. Women want to know what's going on and who they're working with. And so a lot of times that is, especially for me in the woodworking world, they're I want to support a female run business. And, oh wait, you're a carpenter, you're a woodworker, what? That's so badass. And so they just they literally just come after me for that whole reason, which is awesome. So, and they'll say it, they'll be straight up front in an email to me. They're you're a girl and I really want to go with you because you're a woman. I'm okay, cool. And I will say, yeah, I'm thank you. Thanks for saying that, because I appreciate it. So I'll play the woman card. I will.
Why not?
Yeah. People are oh, do you play it? I'm yeah, I play it 100%. I'm a woman in a man's world at the end of the day. And so I'm going to play, I am just as good as these guys. And so I'm going to play my woman card.
Yeah. I got to put that on a t-shirt, like playing the woman card.
Playing the woman card today.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I feel like in a lot of male-dominated industries, I feel like women are just they're just passing. You know, they're just trying to pass as just like a worker, not bringing attention to the fact that they're a woman. But I appreciate that you are like, no, I'm a woman, but I can do the job just as well, if not better, than these guys. So yeah, I'm gonna play what the cards have been dealt.
Yeah,
which I think is very smart. What advice would you? So you didn't have any formal training. You're self-taught. You had your uncle as a mentor type.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, at the beginning, he taught me things. So it's like, it was basic wood knowledge. So I just didn't know. I mean, I would have learned it down the road, and I would have learned it if it's like if I watched certain videos and stuff, but I'm also a very hands-on learner. And so him teaching me like in my garage or his garage how to do a couple things helped lay the groundwork for me to go to the next level for sure.
So what would you say to a woman who is interested in this career field? Like what advice would you give her?
Work hard, work harder than what you think you have to work. And I would say too, it's like, do a ton of do your research, and then continue to better yourself. So it's like, if you're going to mess up 100 times, but learn from that mistake each time so that you don't have to make it again. So it's like, anytime like if I make a repeat of mistake, I get really mad at myself because I'm like, hey, better. Like, that doesn't work. And so why would you even try it again? So it's like one of those things, like, I get it. And sometimes things work in different situations than others, but I really am like, no, go be better, be better than what you think you can be. Go be better. And then continually try and learn. And that's for me. It's like, I think that's why I'm not bored with this job, is because I'm constantly trying to learn how to do things better. So that's every girl that's like, oh, I want to woodwork. I'm like, do it and get some good tools. Like, invest in actually good tools. Sure, buy cheaper things at the beginning to see if this is actually what you want to do. But the second you start really loving it, your next set of tools, slowly replace everything with quality. That's a game changer. Is stepping up your quality. Cause like the second your tools get a little bit nicer, you start using better quality wood. So it's constantly trying to I'm constantly trying to improve my game. And, there is no number scale, because it's not like, oh, I got to a 10 already. Like, the number scale is infinite. And so it's like, you're constantly just learning. So you're going to that next step. 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 And you're not, and like, yeah, you look back to see what you did, but you're constantly moving forward. And so I think it's just going to be growth. Like, you've got to want to grow. And if you don't want to grow, go find another job, honestly. Like, I mean, I think you have to really want to grow and want to be better at the skill. And if you don't, then go do something else. Go do something else.
Okay. So what I've gleaned from what you just said is a desire to work hard, a desire to grow, and then investing in yourself with good tools.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the rest is self-taught, right? The rest is
self-taught. So like, 100%. I think that's the thing too. It's like, now don't bite off more. That's the other thing. I think people bite off more than they can chew sometimes. And so like at the beginning, even now, I mean, sometimes I don't usually say no to many projects. If I say no to a project now, it's just because I don't want to work with someone, because I've gotten a weird vibe, or it's just a project that's just not a project that I want to be doing. And so I have the ability to say no to those things. But if you don't want to get better, say no. But also, you've got to, oh man, how do I want to say it? Yeah, you have to constantly be striving for that. But also, don't bite off more than you can chew, and then you're really mad at yourself. And so I think it's like,
Because you didn't meet your own expectation.
yeah, you didn't meet your own expectation. And so, or you're so mad at yourself that you didn't even, like, that you couldn't accomplish that goal. And so it's like, no, take a step back and work your way up to that goal. Because, it's like, I mean, prime example, Jeff Bezos, he didn't start out thinking Amazon was going to be like the biggest business probably in the world at this point. I mean, he just passed the 200 billion mark this week. I mean, the man is filthy, filthy rich. But I mean, I bet he thought like, okay, I can make an online store. But,
an online
I mean,
shop.
when I was in college, like Amazon is where you bought you could buy books. And so it's like I bought some of my college books that I couldn't find in Bob's bookstore at Florida State. I can find on this like Amazon store, and I get it in a week or two. I mean, I highly doubt he ever thought that he would be selling. I mean, what did I just buy a couple days ago? I mean, what am I not buying? Let's be real. I get an Amazon
I was gonna say like I buy everything on Amazon. Like you can. I mean, literally Amazon
almost everything.
This is not a plug for Amazon, unless Amazon wants to sponsor this podcast.
Yeah. But you can get anything. But, at the beginning, I don't think it's like we have pipe dreams that we're going to do certain things. But at the beginning, none of us are really thinking we're going to be all the way as far as I don't think so. Like I mean, I know myself, like whenever I started this, like whenever I started tinkering in my garage, ultimately 6.5, 7 years ago, I never thought that I would have a full-fledged like business with staff. Even 5 years ago, whenever I lost my job and was building to keep me busy until I found my dream job, I never thought that this would be it. So, it wasn't until like I started like, okay, well, I do love this. I'm going to put more effort in this. I'm going to try and be better at this. And it wasn't until I probably got into my retail shop that I was like, oh, okay. All right, I need to constantly strive to be better. And then the thing is I never put a ceiling on myself for this job. And so I'm just constantly growing. I'm constantly growing. I'm like pulling, it's like the Alice in Wonderland. Like she just gets bigger and bigger and bigger in the situation. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Like I want to get bigger and bigger and bigger in my own little world.
What is your long-term vision for Built by Stevie?
Man, I have a lot of them. There's, I'd love to start doing classes like women's workshop weekends, father-daughter weekends, mother-daughter weekends. I would love to create like an actual experience. So you come to my place and you're going to learn and it's going to be a lot of fun. But you come for like an experiential weekend. So everything from like, maybe it's the food that's grown in my garden we're eating and we're, using wood that I milled up in my backyard. So very much like experience. Also though, it's like, I actually see myself in a shift in the next few years too, where woodworking is only like half of what I'm doing, and that I'm speaking, writing books and doing other stuff. That stuff is going to take up like the other 50% of my time. So I would really like to, always be building, it's like maybe, instead of building in the shop 40, actually really I'm like in the shop like 50, 60 hours a week, but maybe I'm only in the shop 20 hours a week. So I'm still being creative and I'm still getting to use my hands, but I'm not in the shop all the time. So you
have aspirations to really just kind of take it onward and upward.
Yeah,
and build
absolutely.
It into something that will last beyond, like after you retire, like it's still
going. Yeah, I would love that. Like I would love to have, I would love to keep on going. So, and it's like, one day, like, do I get to pass the torch to someone else? Like, I feel like I'm already passing the torch to a lot of other women.
And just by existing and being
totally,
successful.
and just encouraging them and getting them, getting women to think outside their, garage DIY box. And so I already think I'm doing that, but I think that, one day it'd be really cool. Like I don't have kids right now, but maybe one day I do have a daughter that I can say, okay, you're the carpenter now. Like mommy's done working.
Mommy's tired.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that, I don't know if the Lord has kids in store for me. I hope so. But, I would like to pass the torch on. Maybe it's my niece. I don't know. Maybe my niece, who is pretty much my little twin anyways, that, she takes, I don't know. But I definitely think moving as continually driving down the road and seeing what's up.
My boss said something to me one day, and I found it so profound that I wrote it down on a Post-it note, and it sits like right in front of me. And she said, if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten.
Yeah.
That's always kind of stuck with me. Like if you feel kind of like complacent and like too comfortable where you're at, like maybe it's time to move on.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. Cause I think, if you're not growing, you're just stale. Like you're just, it is. You're rotten. You literally are rotten. Like you're not going to, it's like avocado. I mean, that's like the best example. It's like, once it gets ripe, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. So. There's a small window.
Yes.
You got to throw it out. Okay. Well, I wanted to leave some time, and we talked about this. I like to leave some time at the end of an interview to like talk about like something that it like is of interest to you, and like apart from carpentry and Built by Stevie, like what are some of your other passions?
Yeah, I love communication. I love like I love having good conversations. Like that's probably one of my favorite things is like actually sitting around having a drink and having a really good conversation with people. So I love that. So having like engaging conversations, not fighting, like just like having like listening to all sides of a story, like all sides of a story at the end of the day, and just having a good conversation. And then something that I've been doing a lot actually on my business page is I've been talking a lot about human and sex trafficking, because it's coming to the surface a lot more. It's like we've always heard, it's like we've kind of heard about it. Well, we've heard about it. And, there's organizations where it's like, the End It movement, everyone wears red X's on their hands. It's like one day a year that they really talk about it. But recently I have seen an uptick that people are actually really starting to talk about human and sex trafficking. And it's something that's like near and dear to my heart. I'm a sexual abuse survivor. And so it's something that I'm like, I know the after effects that it's had in my life, and I wasn't trafficked. Like I was just abused by a next door neighbor. And so not just, that sounds like I'm minimizing it. It was sucked, a horrible situation as a kid.
Yeah.
But if I can use my voice to talk about the kids and the people that don't have a voice to talk right now, then I'm going to use my voice. And so that's like one thing I've been talking a lot about on my business page is just making people aware of all that's going on in our society today. Yeah.
So you're using your platform to shed light on a very serious issue that we're encountering, and it's becoming more prevalent. I find, like, at least on my social media accounts, I feel like I'm seeing all of this stuff come up about sex trafficking at an alarming rate. And so I think it's good that we're seeing more of it, but it's also very alarming that we're seeing more of it. Like it's good that it's being exposed, but it also kind of, it breaks the bubble of the illusionment that everything is fine. And we don't have a huge issue.
Yeah.
So I think that's really great. How can other people help? How, in your opinion, you have this platform that you're able to use, but not everybody has the large platform that you have. How can one person help bring this to an end or help talk about it? What do you think they should do?
I mean, I think one, it is talking about it, acknowledging that it's actually happening, and then like national. I've had a couple friends who have had businesses that, like two of my good girlfriends, a couple years ago they threw these charity concerts and would raise money for whatever city they were in. It would go to like a housing project for women who had come out of sex trafficking or prostitution, stuff like that. And so I loved that they were in college when they started this job, this company, and they threw concerts. Like they were like, how can we raise money? Well, people love music. And there's artists that can get behind these missions at the end of the day and throw a free concert. Well, they throw a free, it's like kind of a free concert. People are paying to come, but all the money is going towards, some organization. So it's like, find a local organization, like whatever. Right now, I think what's really crazy is I mean, I know that not everyone in America lives in a big city, you know, like, yes, I lived in Nashville. And now I live, you know, I live in the county right next to Nashville. So I'm still really close to
Mm-hmm.
Nashville, but Nashville has more than a dozen ministries, businesses that are, helping women, men, children who have been in the sex, in, you know, they have been in sex trafficking, they've been in prostitution rings, it's all of it. Like, they're helping them come out of it. And so that's a big thing. So like, find a local organization, and then also give of your, I mean, right now it's a lot, like there's, uh, our rescue, led by Tim Ballard, who is a former CIA, like FBI, like just co-ops, like black ops type guy. And co-op is not a co-op. Black ops.
Okay.
But he's a BA, and they're going in and they're literally breaking up these rings all across the world. I mean, they're doing a lot in our country, but they're doing a lot, you know, and around the world right now. But like, they need money for these big, you know, because yeah, they do work with government. They work, like, they're now all private contractors pretty much, but they work with local government, and so, but still, it's like, they've got to have funds to go over, you know, to some of
Yeah.
these countries and do this. And so it's, find an organization that is actually, that's legit, that puts
Yeah.
their money where their mouth is, and they're doing stuff, and then call them and see how you can support them. And so, you know, like, one of the companies that's here in Nashville, Thistle Farms, every time, you know, it's like, I love giving, they work with a lot of women who have been in prostitution and whatnot, and they have kind of like halfway houses for them to move into. They hire these women. They have like they do candles and lotions and small gifts and stuff like that. But they teach these women skills. They teach them how to make candles, and they have a restaurant, and they're cooking and serving. And so I like to take, whenever I've got friends in town, like, I love to take them to Thistle Farms to go buy a candle, or to like have a meal at their restaurant, and support them however I
Mm-hmm.
can, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
here in Nashville, and that's a
Yeah.
great organization to work with. So it's fine, like, whatever local organization is around you. And then if you live in a small city and you don't have one,
Mm-hmm.
how's your church fighting this? Does your church have missionaries?
Yeah.
You know, in a country that they're, you know, in Africa, where they're fighting, like, for, you know, children soldiers and stuff like that. Like, find something and then pour yourself into
Yeah.
it. And it's crazy, because I think the cool thing is that whenever you do that, you find other people who think around the same lines as you do, and those become your friends. Like, you're all fighting for the same purpose. Like, you're
Yeah.
fighting to end something.
Yeah.
And it's a commonality, I think, that's really special.
It's a human responsibility.
It really is. It really, really is. I mean, I'm like, we're in 2020, and I know this has been a cluster year, but we are humans, and at the end of the day, humans really, we need community, and and supporting each other is really, really, it's a big deal. And I find whenever people when they're just serving themselves, that's when everything goes down the drain. So it's like, you've got, like, we're actually supposed to be serving each other. Like, we're supposed to live with each other, not solo. And so it's like, no, be doing something with other people, and supporting other people, and loving other people. And not that that's going to make everything, you know, all the craziness go away, but I think it helps. I think it helps a lot
Yeah.
more whenever we're loving and supporting each other.
Yeah. And I did want to throw out there, you mentioned Our Rescue, and I looked them up real quick because I was like, Our Rescue sounds really
Yeah.
familiar. And it's Operation Underground Railroad. So if
Yes.
anybody
Yep.
wanted to look up and find out how they can support sex trafficking, or not support, get rid of sex trafficking and help support the fight against sex trafficking, you can look up Operation Underground Railroad and read their About Us page and find out how you can support them. And thank you for bringing that up. When we were talking, we had our little pre-podcast talk. We were talking about this and what you were passionate about, and I don't know why, but like, it all of a sudden, like, for the first time, it occurred to me, like, this is a platform for women in male-dominated industries, but it's still a platform. that I can use to talk about other important things.
Absolutely.
So thank you for bringing that up. Because I don't know if it would have occurred. I mean, it's a God thing because I don't think it would have occurred to me beforehand. So,
well, it's like what we were talking about before, we hit the record button. It's like 39 children were found in Georgia in the last couple of days. And then 14, predators, traffickers were also, like they will now be held accountable. But man, we didn't
hearing about it.
Yeah, we're not hearing about that. And like, that's huge. That's 39 children who were taken from parents, family. Like, were they, and we don't know all the specifics yet because I've only seen reports come in. They haven't done a deep dive, and they don't always do a big deep dive on the children's lives because of privacy, which is totally fine. Yeah. Totally fine. But, it's like, were they brought across the border by, a coyote or someone who's trying to sell them? It's like, or were they picked up at the grocery store? You hear these crazy stories. Crazy stories. And but like 39 kids, that's 39 children. It's like, I look at my niece and nephew. Anyway, I'll use my niece because she's in school. She just started school this year. She's in kindergarten. I think there's like 40 kindergartners in her, in her grade at her little school. So I'm like, an entire kindergarten, an entire, like 3 classes of kindergartners were found pretty much. That's like the equivalent. So that's what's crazy. That's what it's like, or one class in college, like how big were your classes in college? Like, some of my classes I had 20, some I had 100, some I had 50, depending on how big the classroom was. But like, that's crazy. It's like whenever you equate that, like it's like, walk into a room with 40 people, 39 people, and that's a lot of people. Yeah. And so that's crazy. It's awesome. It's freaking awesome.
It is awesome. Like I feel it feels heavy because like
it's so heavy. It's so heavy because I've got a friend who's a counselor in Dallas at a hospital, and she's working with a lot of children from all across the board with eating disorders, sex trafficked, all across the board. And these kids have trauma in their life. And so now they're going to have to deal with this trauma. Cause the last, however long they've been held captive, like that, they've seen and heard and done, and there's a lot of crap that's happened in their lives. It's going to have to be not forgotten. Cause you have to deal with it. You have to learn how to deal with it, and live with it. But like now, like, man, it's like, okay, we helped fund the raid to take these kids, to take these predators and traffickers down. But now we have to support these kids and make sure these kids are loved the right way.
To continue.
Yeah. So it's not, it doesn't just stop right there. This continues to go on. This continues to go on.
Yeah. Well,
I know, heavy. That's like,
I know. I'm like, I don't even know. Like my brain is literally gone. I was like, what were we even talking about?
It's heavy. It's so, and that's really the hard part. And I think that's, for me, it's really sad that like right now it doesn't have more attention on social, it's like, I see some of it on social media, but like mainstream media is not covering a lot of it. And
well, then like we said, it's a human responsibility. It is our responsibility, my responsibility, your responsibility to share it on our platforms, because regardless of the size of our platform, it's still a platform. People are still going to see it. So, if you wonder like how you can help, simply sharing the story, and continuing to share the stories, and not to forget that this is a huge issue in our country and in the world. So
absolutely.
We have to keep it front of mind.
Yep.
Front of Facebook.
Yeah.
Stevie, is there anything else like moving back to Built by Stevie after that? Thank you. Is there anything that you want to close us out? Any residual thoughts about like how you started, where you are, where you hope to go?
I think at the end of the day, it's just, I always tell people, they're like, oh, what's the key to success with like your success? I'm like, listen, I work hard. Like and I tell them like, I want to continue to work hard. Like I like working hard. Sometimes I work too hard, then I have to take like a really good break because I've pushed myself probably a little further than I needed to for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I want to continue. I want to continue growing. I want to continue being better. And I want to encourage whoever I'm around, I want to encourage them to be better. And so I don't ever want to not be a person that's not loving and encouraging people really well. And so I think like that's just for me personally, like that's the job that I feel like I'm on earth to do right now, is to love and encourage, and then also to build up kind of like this next generation of like female woodworkers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it.
That's awesome. Carpenter. Hashtag
That's right. Carpenter. It's on my shirt. It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere.
That's awesome. I need to get some women can shirts.
Yes.
I need to get those. Okay.
People love swag.
I know. I designed some stickers yesterday. So,
Yeah.
they're happening.
There you go.
If anyone is interested, if anyone is in Stevie, do you ship nationally?
I do.
Okay.
So I mean, all my swag and like cutting boards and coasters, actually cutting boards and coasters are going on the website this next week. And then furniture, I do ship nationally. Sometimes expensive because it's freight shipping.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, if you're ordering custom, then a freight shipping charge is, it's like you order anything big from any of these other big box stores, you have to pay a freight shipping charge. So we're just adding that into the ballgame too. But yeah, definitely do ship all across the country. And there are some states that I actually road trip to. So like Texas, Florida, it just depends on if I've got enough orders from one place. I'll make a big Built by Stevie road trip and put the trailer behind the Tahoe and just hit the road for a couple
I'd like to order a cutting board if you could come deliver that to me here in Seattle. I'd like
all the way.
Yeah. Road trip to Seattle for a cutting board.
Just for a cutting board. That would be amazing. I wish I could. It's like maybe one day I'll have my own plane. I could just like put something on a plane.
A private jet?
Oh, that'd be so cool.
You would need to learn how to fly it. Like you would have to be the pilot.
Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of funny. It's like, not that I don't want that responsibility, but I'm like, sometimes I just want to sit and I want to zone out. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to zone out in the air. Although I feel like everything works by itself anyways. Cars drive themselves and airplanes pretty much fly themselves. But yeah. But still, maybe, a pilot maybe is in the running down the road. Who knows? There literally is an airport, like a small airport, pretty much across the interstate from like 5 minutes. So
it's a sign. That's what you need to do today. So if anyone wanted to find you, they would find you at Built by Stevie.
Built by Stevie is on my socials. So Facebook, Instagram, my website. My YouTube is also Built by Stevie. That's where you can find me right now. It's going to get switched to Carpenter. But right now, if you look up Built by Stevie, it's there.
And when is your Facebook launch scheduled to go?
Oh, YouTube launch.
Oh, I'm sorry, YouTube. YouTube.
Yeah, totally. YouTube launch. That is, I have a channel and it has a video from like 4 years ago. So I think the official launch will be in the next 2 weeks. And that's what we'll have like, and if you're following me on Instagram is my main social platform that I like to use. Everything that I post on Instagram gets posted to like the Facebook business page, but Instagram is my main. But I'll post it. That's the best place to find me because that's where that's where I'll post like trailer. Hey, just launched another video.
Just put that up there so everyone can.
That's right.
No, you can't. Oh, shoot. Okay.
It's hard.
Never mind. It doesn't work that way. Follow Built by Stevie. I follow you, so everybody else should too.
Built by Stevie.
Okay. Awesome. And the YouTube, you're gonna cover. What was it? You said like vlog and behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's gonna be more vlogging style and then behind the scenes. So just kind of like a little bit of the day in the life of a carpenter. So it's it's like, all right, guys, it's like the vlog weeks will be me literally walking through the week, and so it's the stuff that like you're not always going to see on social media, and it's not the video that I post. It's going to be more me, sometimes me talking and then me showing exactly what I'm doing. So it's I need to go. I have like a knockoff GoPro, and I'm going to see how filming with that little guy goes this next week. Because I haven't really messed around with it yet. So if it works, then great. If it's not, then I'll go get a GoPro. At the end of the day, my phone is my favorite tool.
Amen.
But it's hard. I can't film on my phone and listen to audiobooks at the same time. And I listen to audiobooks pretty much all day in the shop. So I need to have like a second.
Yeah.
type of
The
camera.
GoPro, like the one with the, like you strap it to your head. That's what
Yes,
you should do.
that actually would be hilarious. Oh, there's the flag.
That's the best way. That is honestly, I've seen it. That's the best way to get like really capture what you're doing if you have a headset, because then it feels very immersive.
Yes. Yeah. So
know.
I'm gonna just stick it right there. And
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today, listeners.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Be sure and check out Stevie's all of Stevie's social media handles. She definitely posts interesting content. Watch her YouTube channel. It sounds like there's going to be some super cool stuff on there. I hope everyone has a great day, and remember that women can.